poetry and the connection to, I mean, what we always talk about, the unconscious, the deep psychology, the experience of being human.
Yeah. One of the things that we actually did in my master's program was every class we started with a poem.
I love that. Did like students pick them, or was it always from the instructor, or like?
Generally from the instructor every time.
Interesting. Was there an explanation why?
At the very beginning, so let me see if I can go back a couple of years. The very beginning, we talked about poetry as a way to enter into the numinous together.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
Where we would have just like a moment or two to quietly just arrive in the moment.
Yeah.
We'd start with a poem, and then we'd process our experience with the poem.
Oh, I love that. Oh, that's so interesting. I had one teacher who we would start every class with a mindfulness meditation, which kind of feels like the same thing, but had poetry been incorporated to that, like that's a different part of your brain that you're using,
right? With
like prose and poetry.
I agree. One of the things I was reading about just in thinking about poetry was that poetry isn't something that can really be analyzed effectively because the poet steps into the universal space of experience and helps others to connect to that as well.
Right.
And so it really is this sense of being fully present in yourself in a way that is so connected to everybody else and everything else.
A couple of years ago, I had a friend who I went to high school with reach out on Facebook and asked if anybody wanted to be a part of like a poetry book club kind of thing where we just gather and, you know, analyze and look at poetry. And I was like, yeah, I want to try this out. Hadn't talked to her since we graduated from high school, showed up at her house, and there was only 3 of us, but we'd each brought a poem, and it had to be 25 lines or less that we then, you know, read together and analyzed. And it was so interesting because, you know, I like marked up the poems beforehand and had, you know, these ideas of what I was going to say about them. And they each had something completely different to say about each of the poems. There wasn't this like, oh, you saw that too. It was like, oh, you saw that? Oh, fascinating. And the way that like everybody kind of gelled together. In fact, I remember one of the poems was about fishing. And I like read this poem and didn't really have a connection to it. But the girl who brought it, she loved to fish. And so she was talking about like the experience of fishing and how he described it. And also the like, you know, starts and stops and where it ended and how it's punctuated. Right. And it was a completely different experience, her talking about her experience of the poem than it was of mine reading it. But I think that that's kind of the magic and the beauty of poetry, right? Is that the same words can speak to everybody individually and speak to different experiences.
Yeah. Which I feel like it lends itself to emphasizing just the importance of poetry.
Yeah.
I mean, as a kid and even as a young adult, my experience with poetry was like Shel Silverstein.
Yeah.
Which is just kind of silly poetry.
Yes.
There's some of those that connect to something deeper, but I don't feel like it was really until grad school that I started to appreciate poetry in a different way.
Yeah. Well, you think about too, right? Like Shel Silverstein, One Fish, Blue Fish, Red Fish. Who's that guy?
Oh, Dr. Seuss.
Dr. Seuss. Thank you. Mine completely blanked on that. But like how much kids enjoy that like lyrical poetry, how soothing it is to them, which I think we experienced that too as an adult. I remember there was a period of time where I was going through the end of a relationship. It was right before the breakup and it was stressful and I didn't really understand what was happening. I wasn't expecting the breakup coming, but in that time leading up to it, there was one poet that I read and collected as many poems as I could find of hers online. Erin Hansen is the poet's name. And her poetry is very lyrical. She uses like pentameter kind of lyrical, right? Where it's got a definite flow and feeling and rhythm to it. And it was so soothing to me during that time. Like her words and the messages she was bringing, absolutely beautiful. But I think it was that like lyrical, rhythmic experience that was very soothing to my nervous system.
Yeah. I'm curious if there's more to why you think that was so soothing.
That's a good question. I kind of think of it in terms of like why like EMDR, bilateral stimulation, is soothing, or like binaural beats, right? That have that like back and forth. I kind of wonder if there's something to that part of it that is just like regulating.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe it interrupts the internal rhythm in a way that helps us to come into alignment with the rhythm of just
exactly.
what we're reading. Yeah. Well, it is a beautiful experience when you read poetry that like it hits something special inside.
Mm-hmm.
It really feels like the language is important, but that poetry transcends language.
Yeah.
Because there is a rhythm, there's a musical quality to it.
Right.
There's a visual quality to poetry, like the use of like symbol and metaphor.
Yep.
That it's so evocative.
Yep.
Where so much of our time we spend in that left brain space of language and routine, and
right.
Poetry really lives in the right brain.
Yeah. As I was preparing for this, I was reading Mary Oliver, who is a poet, one of my favorite poets, but I read her book that was specifically about the analysis of poetry.
Mm-hmm.
And she talked about, using words, using iambic pentameter, using alliteration, using assonance, which I didn't know that word, but that's when you use multiples of middle vowels to create a sort of rhythm and lyricism. But yeah, I think there is that, like, there is a soothing part of that helps our nervous system to regulate. I will say too, though, there have been times in my life where I have not read very lyrical poetry, where I've read poetry that wasn't lyrical.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Beatniks are a little less lyrical than, like Aaron Hansen, who's very lyrical, or Shakespeare, who's very lyrical. And there's a joy, and there's something that speaks to me too, the same way that jazz does, jazz, I mean, jazz has lots and lots of rules, but in the listening to it, it sounds like there are no rules to it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like poetry really, it is interesting how there is so much structure that poetry can have. Mm-hmm. That if you didn't know what you're looking for, you wouldn't find it. Like, I don't know enough about poetry in terms of the writing to be able to recognize it.
Yeah.
But there is something very, like, liberating that poetry gives. There's, like, a way of connecting to something so much bigger, or even that can be hard to express in any other way.
Yeah.
Like, I think about a class I took in my undergrad. I took a writing about war class. One of the most beneficial classes I took, and one of the hardest.
I'm sure.
Where we had to write about personal experiences with war.
Oh, wow.
And some of us in the class had experienced war and firsthand, and some had experienced war more vicariously. And it was really interesting to be able to have that experience to write and share.
Yeah.
But I remember writing about this really challenging experience that I'd had. Probably one of the most difficult experiences of my own combat. Mm-hmm. And I remember writing about it, and the only thing that seemed to help me, besides being completely by myself when I wrote, was Homer.
Interesting.
Homer helped me make sense of the experience. And so, like, when Homer writes about Achilles and Achilles' rage.
Yeah.
Like, and I go back and I reread that paper that I wrote, and there are chunks of Homer that I just put in periodically.
Yeah.
And it was the thing that helped that whole paper come together for me.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Okay. So I also, in preparing for this, I was reading Audre Lorde, who is a Black poet. And I have connected very much to Audre Lorde and to Zilke Change in particular. Their words have like sat with me. In particular, some of their words and writings have just sat with me for years, that are like written into my soul. And I have this like experience of imposter syndrome about them, because they're talking, a lot of these experiences, they're talking about the Black experience, right? I'm never going to know what it's like to be a Black woman in America. Never, ever, ever going to have that experience or be able to fully understand what it is that they're writing about. But I am a queer woman, and I am a neurodiverse woman, and I am a disabled woman. So I can understand the experience of being overlooked, the experience of being discriminated against, the experience that is a more universal archetypal experience. And they write about it in such a way that it sits with me. And as I was reading Audre Lorde in particular, she was talking about how we need to consume the prose, the poetry, the art of people who aren't like us, because we do find similar experiences in that. And she specifically talks about like a white teacher who won't teach Black poetry because they don't relate to it. She's like, how about all the people who teach Homer, who teach Socrates? Like, they're not going to understand that. That was, hundreds of years ago, but we still teach that. That's something that we can do. And we will find those points of relation between cultures, between experiences that speak to that more human experience. So it does not surprise me at all that you found that connection in Homer to your experience today, hundreds of years later.
Right. Yeah, there is something really special about being in that space of the poet that does connect us to the human experience in a way that is so unique. I was actually looking at, so I love Kim Krantz.
Yes.
Who has a poetry of her own.
Yes.
But I was looking at her Wild Unknown archetype deck. And in there, she has the archetype of the poet.
Oh, love it. Tell me more.
It feels really connected to what you're saying.
Yeah.
She says, the poet's work is to feel immensely and not be afraid.
Oh.
They must seek out truth in the darkest corners of the world and carry it back for all to see. This unique capacity resides within us all, regardless of our relationship to creativity. When the poet energy is present, there is a call for deep honesty and reflection, for seeing the big picture within the little one. The poet rides effortlessly between the personal and universal. It's possible that others may not seem to listen or care about the poet's work, but do not be discouraged. The words of the poet ring true for centuries to come, soothing the wounds of despair and violence that captivate our world.
Amazing. So true, though, too, that like the universal, the personal, and how lasting poetry is. Like, we think of our ancient texts that we have today, so many of them are poetry and prose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's 100% true. And the like being in the darkness and the like no fear of being able to speak and say those things. Beautiful.
Right. Well, I think about your example, right? To be Black in America, to be a queer woman in America, like there's a lot of oppression that goes in to those experiences, that lives within those experiences that so many people experience or don't understand because they don't experience.
Yeah.
And there is this meeting ground that is poetry.
Yes.
The courage of the poet to bring the fully lived experience into the collective conscious space.
Yeah.
Like, it helps to bring a lot of healing and awareness too.
Yeah. I've been saying for quite a while that I really, if you want to understand somebody different, then you consume the art of that person or even that culture, right? Whether it's poetry, whether it's painting and sculpture, whether it's plays, whatever it is, consume the art to understand the person and the culture.
Yeah. Well, like, one of the things that comes up for me in hearing that is that one of the poets that I have appreciated the most is Rumi.
Oh, yeah.
Which, like, I went and fought a war in the Middle East.
Yeah.
And had a lot of really hard experiences culturally with the Middle East as a result of kind of how I was trained and what my experiences were like.
Yeah.
And Rumi, of all people, has, like, some of his poetry has helped me the most.
Yeah.
I know he writes some interestingly spicy poetry,
Yeah. Yes.
but one that comes to mind is this poem called The Guest House,
Yeah.
which I wish I had it right in front of me. I don't. But he talks about how basically, like, all of the voices inside of us, it's as if they are guests coming to our home.
Mm-hmm.
And there is wisdom to be learned from all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And that we invite them to sit around the table and hear them for the wisdom that they bring.
Yeah.
And it's a really beautiful poem. I wish I could do it better justice, but it was this, I remember, like, at a point where I first heard that poem, really wrestling with a lot of stuff that was going on inside and not really being able to understand a lot of it.
Yeah.
And it felt like this light shining in of all the things that are happening inside,
Mm-hmm.
may be uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
and hold a lot of wisdom.
Yeah.
And to view them as guests that I've invited into my home.
Wow. Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of when I was leaving the Mormon church and struggling so much with that loss of identity, loss of faith, loss of community, all of that. I read a Mormon poet, Rachel Hunt Steinblick, I think is her name, but she wrote about the experience of motherhood and of Heavenly Mother and has 2 poetry books about it. Beautiful poetry books. But I happened to be friends with her on Facebook, and I was like, oh, I want to support my friends. And so I bought her books, and they spoke to me in such a, like, meaningful and beautiful way, even though I had, like, very much distanced myself from that identity.
Yeah.
It was still that, like, it was still a connective experience that I was like, okay, like, I can still be in a place of compassion and understanding, even while also in a seemingly place of opposition.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's this way of being able to speak to the human experience that the poet brings.
Right.
It can be so evocative and connective.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's amazing. I love
Right.
poetry.
I have definitely come to appreciate it in a new way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
I don't know if I could say that I love it.
Yeah.
I love certain poems.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
But I do find it to be really helpful.
Yeah.
I was also just reflecting, like, one of the hardest experiences that I had during my master's program was actually at a training that I did
Mm-hmm.
where Deb and I were at a sand trade training together.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an expressive arts training.
Okay.
I think it was 3 days. That sounds right. Day 1 was really rough.
I tell you what, okay, expressive arts, amazing, beautiful, so healing, can be like
Mhm.
absolutely such an important part of the therapeutic process. But doing it with people that you know,
Mm-hmm.
that's terrifying.
Right.
And doing it with, like, your partner that you love
Mhm.
and care deeply about and have all of this, like, emotional depth and heaviness,
Mm-hmm.
terrifying.
Right.
Tell me more.
Yeah. Well, it really, like, day 1, we had this really challenging experience, and it put me into this shame spiral for like 3 full days,
Yeah.
which resolved itself very well.
Okay.
But there was like 3 days of real discomfort where, like, I just was questioning a lot of stuff and
Yeah.
having a really hard time. And it's interesting when I look back at the things that I made in that training,
Mm-hmm.
I have like 3 pages of poems.
Wow.
And I don't write poetry. It's not my thing.
Yeah.
But I had written like haikus. I'd written something longer.
Wow.
It was like, I don't even remember exactly what they were.
Yeah.
But it just felt like the only way to express what I was experiencing was through a poem.
Okay. So I've totally had that experience too. It's always in times of, like, heightened emotions
Mhm.
where I'm like, I need to get it out of me. I need to write it, whether that happens in journaling or writing an essay or writing a letter to somebody or poetry. Like, that expression, and poetry is its own unique. And it's often, for me, the poetry comes when I don't know how to express it. I need to
Yeah.
express it, but I don't have the words. I don't have the ability to like sit. And so it comes out like I call my poetry starts and stops, where it's like I start a thing and then it stops, and then I start a thing and then it stops. And it, for me, the poetry that I write during those times doesn't ever feel lyrical. It doesn't ever feel like, this lovely flowing thing, but it is so raw that, it's like all of the emotion in these like handful of words.
Right. It just like pours out from somewhere.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you have this experience, but it almost feels like when you have the wrong word.
Yes. Yes.
I feel like a lot of times in conversation, like it'll be like, that's not quite right. It's close enough.
Yeah.
But I feel like in like poetry, the word makes a difference. It's like it's really important. Like that's not right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And I completely understand it. And it drives me crazy sometimes. Yeah. You know what is another experience with poetry that in writing it that I've actually really enjoyed is magnetic poetry.
I'm not familiar.
They're it's just words that you put on your fridge and then you arrange them. And I love that because the words are there and I have like, it's like a container to hold it, right? I don't have to come up with the word. I just get to rearrange the words and make it into something that feels authentic. Yeah. I love magnetic poetry.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I thought you were talking about something else.
No.
I was like, this is something really nuanced.
No.
Right. Yes. Yeah. The poetry magnets are awesome.
Yeah.
Just rearrange and play.
Okay. So how often have you shared the poetry that you've written with other people?
Rarely, if ever.
Yeah. I have like a small handful of people that I've shared poetry I've written. I did a couple of years ago, maybe even within the last year. No, I think it's definitely within the last 2 years. A friend shared a poem that she had written about another one of our friends, and it opened up a new door to our relationship, which it's my bestie. It's my person, my wifey. That's who shared this poem. And she has been my person for years. And she shared this poem that she wrote about another one of our friends. And I was like, I did not know this about you. And it was this funny experience. I was like, God, I hope for our whole lives we keep surprising each other, kind of experience.
Yeah.
But her sharing that poetry, I learned a new thing about her, and it was such a cool experience for her sharing that with me. That was another connective experience between us.
Yeah. It makes me wish I would have brought some of my poems in with me.
Yeah. We'll have a whole night where we just share poetry and then go freak out about it for 3 days afterwards.
Right. Yeah. I did have to, like for school, I occasionally had to turn in poems.
Yeah.
It was like, the idea was that part of working through your internal experience is creative expression.
Yeah.
There is an expressing what is happening inside, which was really hard for a lot of people, where they would try and talk about their experience, not express it.
Yeah.
Like talking about what you're experiencing is very different.
There's a word for it, circumlocution.
Ooh, okay.
Where you talk all around a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And poetry, and sometimes it was drawing, sometimes it was like writing, sometimes it was just verbal expression. But yeah, it was locating what your experience is and then giving it expression. And the poetry as expression was a really challenging one for me to do.
Yeah.
Because it felt so vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I was like, ugh. Sometimes I would just kind of like, this is an assignment I have to do.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be super accurate right now.
Yeah.
I'm just going to grind it out.
Yeah.
But there were definitely times where it was important for me that I fully express what I was experiencing with poetry.
Yeah.
And I'd spend half an hour on 3 to 5 lines.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've had the experience where I'll write it out and I'll come back to it days later. I'm like, you know what? That's not exactly right. In fact, I'm thinking of one thing that I had written that I'm like, I still know that that's not the exact way I wanted to say it. But it's as close as it's going to get for right now anyway. Maybe someday, years later, I'll revisit it again. I think too, though, there's a like, for me anyway, there's a block if I know this is going to be consumed by someone else.
Right.
Right. If I'm just writing it for myself to get my thoughts out, to be able to express myself, that's a different experience than like, oh, somebody is going to consume this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Yeah. There's a pressure to make it pretty.
Right.
Yeah.
Pressure to make it pretty, pressure to make it quote unquote right.
Yes.
And also there's, at least for me, there's a vulnerability there too.
Mm-hmm.
Both in terms of the expression and the fear of judgment.
Yeah.
Like if it's not good enough, people will be like, oh, your poetry's crap.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I was writing about something really personal.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm crap. Okay, I heard
Thank
it.
you.
It's fine. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed what you said. Thank you for the feedback. I'm crap. I love it.
Yeah. That's so real. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that like ability to be able to consume, again, we've talked about like how it's a connective experience. I think too of Andrea Gibson, who's a non-binary poet who wrote extensively beautiful poetry, who passed away recently from some kind of cancer. I can't remember. But before they passed away, Glennon Doyle, who writes memoirs, was experiencing a depressive episode. I can't remember exactly, but talks about how I want to say Glennon's therapist suggested she read Andrea Gibson. And so started reading Andrea Gibson poetry and really shifted something inside of her that, you know, this connection to human experience, to human suffering, gave some kind of meaning to Glennon that was able then to, you know, like make it through this depressive episode. But I think there's something to be said for that too, that in writing the human experience and writing the suffering, in putting that out there for consumption, we give that representation to others. You're not alone. You're not alone in this suffering. You're not alone in your experience. Other people have also experienced it.
Right. Which is so important. It's important for the person reading, but it's also important for us as the person sharing.
Yeah.
To realize we're not alone.
Yeah.
Because we have that moment of vulnerability of saying, this is my experience. And then to have that received and then expressed back to us of a, sometimes it's, oh, I didn't know anybody else felt that way.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. I think about Carl Rogers in On Becoming Human. Is that the one? I think so. He says that the thing that is like most sacred to us when spoken aloud will speak most deeply to others. Right. Which I discovered that when I was in grad school. Right. So I thought a lot about that in our work as therapists. Right. And how important it is for our clients to be able to speak these things out loud so that they don't feel alone. But that also how important it is for us as therapists to be able to validate that, be able to say in the ways that we can, yeah, me too. You're not alone in that. It is an experience. And Audre Lorde also said the same thing in her book. Let's see if I can find it real fast. I've come to believe over and over again that what is most important to me must be spoken, made verbal, and shared, even at the risk of having it bruised or misunderstood, that the speaking profits me beyond any other effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that it also connects us to each other.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
And I love the way that in allowing ourselves to try and create poetry, we actually also connect to a place inside of us that's really important.
Yes.
We do live in a space and time where we are more focused on consumption than creation.
Yes.
And poetry is a way to like connect to ourselves and increase our like ability to be present in the world by allowing ourselves to be connected and creative rather than simply just be a receptacle.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So in my undergrad, I studied religion, and I love the human experience that is religion because it's nearly universal that most people on earth have some kind of religious mythological thing that they adhere to. But particular with the Abrahamic religions, right? They use the Bible. And the very first introduction that we have to what it means to be God, to be deity, is creation. The creation story is what comes first. And I think that is our connection to deity. That is our connection to the divine, and the divine that exists within each of us is that ability to create.
Right. And this is one of those stories that is universal. There is some kind of creation myth.
Yeah.
It's a key capacity to be human.
Yeah. Well, and if we throw back to the heroine's journey, right, to the creation, to that connection to that inner part of us, to, again, that divine feminine, the divine goddess within each of us, it is creation.
Right. Yeah, it is. Just so beautiful.
It really is. Yeah. Magical, really.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious, in your experience, I guess, what are things that help you be able to step into that space of expression through poetry?
Oh, gosh. I don't know if I have done it intentionally ever, or if I've tried to do it intentionally. I feel like for me, it's always come as a thing that had to be done when it needed to be done. And in fact, anytime I've tried to like step into that and create just because I'm like, let's create, it doesn't have the same effect. It's not the same experience. I wish I knew how to do that. And I think some people do. I think some people can say, okay, I'm going to go get into that creative headspace. And, you know, especially I think of people who get paid to do it, right? Who are authors, who are artists, who are making work to be consumed. They can get into that. I wish I could.
Yeah.
How about you? Do you have a trick for it? Teach me, wise one, please.
Well, it is something that is difficult for me.
Yeah.
I think that there are a couple of things that have been helpful for me at different times. Some of it really has been that feeling of like I have to get something out. But I also feel like often my view of what is considered poetry can be really narrow.
Yeah.
And I limit myself.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I was thinking about and realizing that felt very much like poetry is collage.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically the soul collage approach.
Right.
Where you take, you know, a large piece of cardstock and you choose a single background and then a single image. And that's it. You collage those two.
Yeah.
And then you speak for the images.
Yeah.
I am one who.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And whatever speaks to you.
Yeah.
So I remember one of the first ones I did, I had a desert background, like the huge sand dunes, like in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And there's these little tiny people on the top of the dunes. And I want to say it was like kind of end of the day, sunset kind of time frame.
Yeah.
And then I had like a border collie or something like that, like a dog. And it was like, I am one who feels lost in the desert.
Wow.
I am one who like finds others who is lost.
Yeah.
Like, and you just speak to whatever is coming up, whatever is alive. And it gives this really nice structure, and you can have as many of those as you need to.
Yeah.
But it has a certain poetic quality to it.
Yeah.
And you learn a lot about yourself in the process.
Well, I think that's so clever too. Like I said, you know, I like magnetic poetry. Like it's right there. I just have to rearrange the words, right? Collage feels kind of the same way, right? I'm looking through the images. I'm finding an image that speaks to me, you know, however it does. And then I'm making something new from it. And that then kind of prompts the creation.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you have on the back of your card, you have whatever you wrote. And then on the front, you have this really beautiful picture.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's great.
So I was thinking as you were speaking, the like act of making it a habit, right? So I've read like Writing Down the Bones, Elizabeth Gilbert's Big Magic, The Artist's Way. A lot of those books that talk about creating, talk about making it a habit, right? Writing your pages every day. That's an Artist's Way thing. Your 3 pages every morning. But getting into that habit, and then whatever comes out, if it's ugly, if it's, useless, whatever else, we're still in that habit so that when inspiration does hit, it has a place to land.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, where there is some kind of creative practice that we're engaging in.
Yes, exactly.
Which, yeah, when we have a practice that's already there, there's a lot more opportunity for expression.
Yeah. Yeah, I love collage though. That's something my friends and I do like at least once a year. We'll get together and make our, vision boards or whatever we're doing to be able to speak to what we're wanting or what we're experiencing. I use the same kind of practice in therapy with cards, right? Whether it's Oracle or Tarot, that, I have whoever's wanting it go through and pick out what speaks to you. It doesn't, if it speaks to you in a way that makes you feel good or that is uncomfortable, whatever it is, let's pull out those cards and let's talk about them.
Yeah.
And then usually it does prompt a deeper reflection and a creation. IFS is kind of the same way, right? We start slow. We ask to reflect. Whatever comes up, we're not here to judge it. We're here to understand it, to see it, to witness it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that from an unbound perspective where there's so much more freedom to be able to share and express.
Yeah.
It also makes me think of all of the hoodies and the t-shirts, the ways we say I love you.
Yeah.
Like the text me when you get home.
Yeah.
Or like all those other and it I want to say her name is Whitney Hansen.
Okay.
She's a poet and a musician. And one of her books, it's more of a workbook. It says, in English we say, and then it has a phrase, and then in poetry we say.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, in English we say, I love you. And in poetry we say. And it gives you that prompt
Yeah.
to just come up with creative ways to express whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my kids doesn't like saying I love you. And I remember when, he was like probably 14 or 15, where he was like, that just makes me uncomfortable. I'm not going to say it anymore. I was like, okay, that's fine. You be who you are. I'm here for it. But it was so funny because he said, I don't feel like I have to tell you that. That's not what I experience. What I experience is appreciation and, all these other things. And I kind of had to laugh to myself, be like, if only there was like a nice, concise way to say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, all the different ways that we do tell each other we care, that we do, express that appreciation, that love, that affection, whatever it is, happens in so many different ways. And through the poet's eyes, we see that.
And it could be like a really fun exercise, right?
Yeah.
So like, what are phrases that you say or hear often?
Yeah.
And what are creative ways that you also hear that same idea expressed?
Yeah.
Or ways that you could express it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Okay, that's a thing that I'm going to be thinking about. All of the things that I say to my kids and what am I expressing when I'm saying those things too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like I think about right before I left to come here today, I was about to walk out the door and I stopped and I went back inside. I was like, hey kids, I'll see you in a couple hours. Right?
Yeah.
I'm off.
Yeah.
And I'm giving them an understanding, like an expectation of what's happening.
Right.
And also it was, I don't want to leave the house without letting my kids know I'm thinking of them.
Yes.
Because one of the ways that I'm going to say I love you to my kids is to say, hey, I'm leaving, but I'll be back soon.
Yeah. Yeah. You're on my mind. I'm not leaving you behind.
Right.
My goal is to be back here in this space.
Right.
That as I go out into the world, it's here I come back to.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a nice little poem.
Well, look at that. Somebody write it down for me. Yeah.
Right.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So it's through the eyes of the poet that I think too, okay, through the eyes of the poet, it's how we see the mundane as magical. So I think this is something I probably talked about in past episodes. Maybe I haven't. I don't know. I've been talking about it a lot recently. Is this collective grief that we're experiencing as we're seeing the end of our country and our civilization, our culture as we know it is falling apart, which it needs to do, and something new will be remade in its place. But it's an experience of grief that we're having, if we can't exactly name it. And I saw somebody say that through the experience of macro grief, we survive it and we heal it with micro joys. And I love that. That's really like what I've been trying to carry with me, because I have experienced grief over and over and over again. And I've often said I'm very uncomfortable with grief. I don't like working with it in a therapeutic setting. It's very difficult for me. I don't know how to do it. And I had this recent like shift in that. And I think it was through this process of like looking through the micro joys and changing my experience of grief through that like both can be true. And I've been through this experience before. I've been through grief. I've been through suffering. I've been through pain. It happened on a micro level. Now it's happening on a macro level, which is slightly different, but the human experience of it is still the same. And I think it is through the poet's eyes that we find those micro joys, and that we develop that poet within us by looking for those micro joys. And the experience that I always use as an example when I'm trying to explain this to my clients, right? This is what I want you thinking about. Like micro joys aren't just, like I'm grateful for my kids. That's a very generic thing. A micro joy is I was inside a very cold room today and I stepped outside. It was hot and my toes thawed. And I had that experience of like, oh, I'm getting feeling in my toes again. And oh my goodness, that feels so good. And it only lasts for a moment and then it's too hot and I'm mad again.
Right.
But if I can stop in that moment, plant a little tiny psychic flag that, oh yeah, that feels really good, then I have experienced a little tiny micro joy.
Yeah. I love that. I love that as well. Like the idea of like making the mundane magical.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's so important to survive right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. One, it really helps us to slow down. Think about just recently, like we're on the tail end of our citrus tree, like flowering. Last year it didn't last for very long because I wasn't taking good enough care of it. But this year I've been much more intentional.
Good job.
But I stepped outside to like spray paint some miniatures that I was going to paint, like just like rattle cans and primer on them. But it's like I stepped outside, I shut the door, I set all my things down. I've got like resin miniatures and spray paint, which are both like a little strong smell. And over top all of that was the most beautiful smell of our tangelo tree.
Oh yeah.
And I just got to stop.
Yeah.
And just be there in this moment of this is such a beautiful smell.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, let me get back to work.
Yeah.
And then I came back outside later to grab all the things that they've dried.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh,
yeah.
There's that tangelo tree again.
Yeah. Little micro joys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah. Micro joys. And then I do have some clients who are like, I can't experience joy right now. I said, okay, we're going to go just a step below that then for micro satisfactions.
Right.
Right. This moment I'm satisfied and that's enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Satisfaction is a big deal.
It is a big deal. In fact, a lot of the people I know who have really struggled with their mental health have not found, or at least as I've observed it, that they didn't ever really find a sense of satisfaction in their life.
Yeah. Just being consistently dissatisfied.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
Yeah. Yeah, but if I can find a moment of satisfaction, right? I went outside and I smelled the tangelo blossoms.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went outside and I heard a bird chirping and
Right. Yeah.
yeah, whatever it is.
Uh-huh. Yeah. It's a great thing to connect to.
Yeah.
Times when I feel satisfied.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting too that all of these micro joys and little satisfactions that all have to do with nature and being outside. Huh,
That's
weird.
great. Yeah. I mean, I do have some that are more inside.
Yeah. Okay, good.
One of the things that I often will do with people, like at the end of a session when we've been processing something kind of heavy, is we'll just do a little shake it out dance.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody's willing to join in with me on it. I'm like, no, you gotta commit to it.
Yeah.
You gotta fully commit. You gotta really shake it out.
Yeah.
And, like just really like stiff. So
Yeah.
okay, we'll get there. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Like there's some self-consciousness happening.
Yeah.
Cool. We can be with that.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I get that one person who's like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And they're typically the people who already dance a lot. And
Yeah.
so it's just like, we have this amazing, like, ugly dance, shake it out, like
Yes.
full commitment.
Yeah.
And we're both like laughing and smiling.
Amazing.
And if anybody watched us, they'd be like, who are these weirdos?
yes.
And there isn't a care in the world.
That's so good though. That's so good for your
Yeah.
nervous system. That's so good for like closing that emotional loop.
right.
Oh, so good. I need to be doing that more with my clients.
Yeah. But it's like there's so much, it's like so satisfying and joyful
Oh yeah.
to be in that space together
Oh
of
yeah.
we're going to not care what anybody
Yeah.
else thinks. We're just going to
Yeah.
do this weird dance.
Yeah. That's so great. I do that with my stickers that I give my clients when
yeah.
they're like, sorry, I'm crying. I'm like, no. You get a sticker if you cry in therapy. A sense of whimsy, a sense of like childhood, incorporating a sense of playfulness into the work that we do because it is really heavy. And we do need that like sense of whimsy about our lives.
Yeah. And like these moments of creative expression, they give voice to that. They help
Yeah.
us connect to that.
Yeah.
The hard and the whimsical.
Yes. 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 I love that. Like, I mean, so much of when I'm expressing it is when it's hard, but then there's also times where it's like really exciting and I'm dating somebody new and I'm really excited and I'm writing all about it everywhere. And yeah. So yes, both in the whimsy and the difficult
Yeah.
and in the mundane too.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just kind of write about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is definitely inspiring me to maybe like sit down and write some more poetry again, at least consume more poetry.
Sure. And there's, everybody's going to connect to different stuff.
Yeah.
I love David White and Mary Oliver. And
Yes.
they're amazing.
At the end of every year, I keep track of how many books that I've read throughout the year. And at the end of every year, I'm usually like in the last week, I'm usually within like 10 books of like a nice even number. And it's always like, okay, how can I get 10 books in the next 4 days to get to my nice even number?
Sure.
And it's usually poetry books. Like those are nice and small. And so at the end of every year, I'm usually consuming several poetry books in a row. And I'm always like, why don't I do this more during the year? Like these are so good. I love poetry books. I got to be consuming them consistently throughout the year.
Yeah. What are some poetry books you would recommend for people to whet their palate?
Well, Mary Oliver is great. And she's got, I want to say it's Wild Geese is like a pretty short poetry book that's, I think, easily consumable and speaks to universal experiences. Erin Hansen, again, that was the one that her poems are a little bit longer form, but they're very lyrical. And so it's very soothing. And I feel like she's pretty easily consumable too. Let's see who else. I mean, if you want to get into deeper stuff and experiencing, human emotions and deep levels, definitely Ntozake Shange, Andrea Gibson, Audre Lorde, but those are also like people who are speaking to queer experiences and oppressive experiences, which, I think is important for everybody to experience. But I mean, we could also go back to the ancients and Homer and Sappho and Socrates and consuming poetry and prose and philosophy in those ways.
Yeah.
Who would you put on the list?
I think the three that come to mind that you didn't mention were David White,
Mm-hmm.
Khalil Gibran.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
and-
that's a good one.
yeah. And then Rumi.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Those are my other three.
Those are great. You know, I have found a surprising number of really beautiful poets on social media too, like Instagram poets, or back in the day it was Tumblr poets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just makes me think, like, how fun would it be for us to share with each other some of our poems?
It would be fun and terrifying. Okay, when I go home, I'm going to find one and I'll text it to you, and you find one and you text it to me.
Okay.
Okay, that feels a little bit safer than doing it face to face.
Right.
Like I'm just reading poetry at you.
Right. I love it.
Okay.
Maybe I'll go a step further and I'll post one of my poems on our Instagram.
Oh, all right. I'll find one. I'll think about finding one that you can post of mine. That's what I can commit to.
Right. But I mean, there's an understanding here. Like, I'm not a poet. I'm not.
Yeah.
At least I don't see myself that way.
Right. I'm not formally trained in this.
Right.
Yeah.
I studied rock climbing
Yeah.
and psychology.
Yeah. Yeah. I studied religion and psychology.
Right. It's like this isn't a thing that I've done training in. This isn't a thing that I consider to be one of my big strengths.
Yeah.
It's been something meaningful though.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that there's I mean, of course there's value in that, but I think that there's value in that too for our listeners who don't feel like their poetry is good enough, or that they're not, why even try because it's not going to be pretty, whatever else. There's still value in it.
Right.
Yeah.
There is.
All right.
We're giving voice to the human experience.
Okay.
We're letting ourselves be seen.
Yes.
And also at the same time helping others feel seen.
Yes.
By
Okay.
our sharing.
All right. I'll find something we can post on Instagram
Okay.
or wherever else.
Or wherever else. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's scary. It's scary to be vulnerable like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. I mean, like I was sharing, my first real experience of connecting with poetry was with Homer when I was writing about war.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm writing about Achilles finding like Patroclus,
Yeah.
right? When Patroclus is killed.
Yeah.
And writing about my own experience of really coming to understand the term dead weight in a different way.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to put it into words.
Yeah.
It was there. All I felt was just, I felt overwhelmed by so many things, by grief, by pain, by anger,
Yeah.
by hate.
Yeah.
And then I found this expression of all of those things.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I love that you brought up in particular anger, because that is one of the themes that I had found recently in a lot of these poets I was reading, is that sacred rage.
Mm-hmm.
And I think so often we aren't shown or taught how to have anger in ways that is helpful.
Right.
Right? All the experiences of anger that most of us have experienced have been harmful. They've been destructive, right? But anger is an emotion. Emotions aren't good or bad. They just are. They're data, they're information. And if we can learn from our emotions, and if we can use them in ways that are helpful and constructive, right? But anger is one of those ones that I think is like scary for so many of us. But there is a sacred rage and what it is that we do with that. And I think the poets are so good at showing us that, what we do with that sacred rage.
Yeah. Well, it like makes me think of how beneficial it could be to pick an emotion that we struggle with. Maybe we don't start at like 10 out of 10 struggle. Maybe we dial it back and it's like maybe it's a 6 out of 10 or even a 4 out of 10, but just something I'm having a hard time, whether it's anger, whether it's grief, or shame, something.
Yeah.
And we look up poems that speak to those things.
Yeah.
Poems about anger.
Yeah.
Poems about rage. Poems about shame. Poems about grief. And then we allow other people to help us find our way through those things.
Yeah. So the emotion wheel that we use so often is actually a writing tool that we as therapists have co-opted to help us to be able to teach our clients how to speak about their emotions and their feelings. But the classic one that we use that I've got on a pillow in my office is a writing tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so meaningful.
Yeah.
Right? Learning how to express ourselves.
Yeah.
Like be more articulate in the way we express ourselves.
Yeah. That connection between language and emotions and processing our emotions is a strong one.
Yeah. I think it also helps illustrate the neuropsych experience of the left brain, the language center, the thing that wants to wrap everything up in language and processes. That is actually built to serve the right brain, to serve all of these other pieces of ourselves where symbol and image and feeling and like the numinous lives. In order for that to be given life in the world, it needs language.
Yes.
But we need to come from that place first.
Right.
And then the language helps to breathe life into it in a new way.
Yes. Language. I love words. They're fun.
They are fun.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So then what's the practice? What's the thing to get us started on this journey?
I would say find some kind of creative expression to start.
Yeah.
It can be anything at all.
Right.
But something.
Yeah.
Some kind of expressive art.
Yeah.
So soul collage is great.
Yeah.
Pick a background image, pick another image, glue them on top of each other.
Yeah.
I am one who, and just speak to the image, whatever comes up.
Beautiful.
It can be, you could write a daily haiku.
Yeah.
Well, 575, 3-line.
Yeah.
Doesn't even have to make sense.
Yeah.
Just hit the syllable count.
Yes.
It's so helpful that they even had an entire episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender that featured haiku.
Love Avatar: The Last Airbender already, but the haiku one, hilarious.
So good.
Yeah.
It can also be a give expression to a feeling.
Yeah.
It can be speak it into the world. It can be speak it into a voice memo. It can be give it voice with color on a page, whatever.
Grab some crayons.
Yeah. But find ways to express what is alive inside of you.
Yes. Yeah. I love that. I think also tarot or oracle cards could do it. If you're not doing the traditional reading, just going through and picking out cards that speak to you, telling a story about them. Yep, absolutely. And I'd say just make it a habit.
You know, like the idea of morning pages is great. I can't always do three pages of morning pages, but I can sometimes do a paragraph or two.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, making it a habit, writing out something every day, creating something every day.
Right. And especially if you can focus on the somatic experience of the feeling.
Oh, incorporate a little mindfulness into it, you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I think about a sanctuary I did recently where I had a river of fire. And when I looked at that river of fire, it felt like my bones were burning.
Yeah.
Right.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, okay, cool. And when I looked at a little circle of fire, it felt like I was like, there was this feeling of claustrophobia inside of it, of like a hedged in on all sides.
Yeah.
Everything pressing in on me in a space that was both too bright and too dark all at once.
Yeah. Interesting.
But when you have that kind of expression, it gets evocative quick.
Yeah. I was listening to a meditation last night. I was getting ready for bed, and the guided meditation did something I'd never done in a guided meditation, but it was asking you to change your aura to gold. And I've never, in a guided meditation, ever been prompted to change my aura for anything.
Nope.
But the experience of okay, I'm going to change my aura to gold. I don't see auras. I don't but it was an experience that I had in my body that felt like an act of creation.
I love it.
Yeah. So yeah, I think creation too, this is the takeaway from that. Creation can happen in so many different ways. It's not always an expressive art experience. It can be the act of meditating. Okay, I'm going to change my aura to gold. I don't know what that means, but I'm going to have that experience in my body and create something new here.
Right. And then if you can just write down a few lines of your experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Document it.
Right. What color did you start at? What color did you end at?
Yeah.
What did it feel like?
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
Poetry.
Yeah. And then take it to your therapist and share it with your therapist. Because I want to hear about it.
Right. Yeah. Or you can share with us.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
We'll share our poetry too.
Yeah.
At least with each other.
At least I'll figure it out.
You can share with me. I'm happy to just share mine.
Okay. Thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah. No, but I honestly do feel like I love it. There's a magic that comes to the mundane.
Yes.
Through poetry.
Yes.
That is unlike anything else.
Yes. I 100% agree. Yeah. And I think that would be the thing that I would say I would hope for our listeners, for our clients, for everybody is, God, I hope you are able to find magic in the mundane.
It's there.
It is there. Yeah.
Find it.
Best of luck. Go forth.